Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of Holistic Health. You are tuned to 1422 medium wave. This is the new Pan-Hellenic voice. This is Holistic Health Hour, and I am Dr. Gabrielidis, discussing, as always, on a Tuesday evening, our very precious health till 8 o'clock. Tonight, we're going to be talking about colon health. Very valuable and practical and fascinating information for your colon. You'll want to hear this. Believe me, you will not want to miss this. Stay tuned, folks, while I greet my fellow Greek listeners, and I'll be with you in just a sec. Καλησπέρα σας, κυρίες και κύριοι. Είσαστε, όπως ξέρετε, συντονισμένοι στα 1422 μεσαία κύματα της νέας Πανελλήνιας Φωνής με την εκπομπή μας Holistic Health. Μαζί σας ο Δ. Παναγιώτης Γαβριλίδης μέχρι τις 8 η ώρα. Το θέμα μας σήμερα αφορά την υγεία μας. Μείνετε λοιπόν συντονισμένοι μαζί μας και εύχομαι να μάθουμε κάτι εκπαιδευτικό και προληπτικό σήμερα. Alright. Our colon. Tonight's program has a few specific applications. It is, first of all, for those who have reached that certain crest between self-loathing and self-esteem where they can no longer endure the condition of their body and are prepared to do whatever it takes to reverse the tide. Secondly, it's for those who have begun a nutrition or supplement program with no results, or else may have reached a plateau in their progress. Thirdly, it's for those with long-term allergies, which years of injections and pills have not cured. Fourthly, for those who are not having at least one good bowel movement every single day, preferably 3 actually. And fifthly, for those who have been diagnosed with one of the following so-called incurable diseases, like irritable bowel syndrome, spastic colon, Crohn's disease, chronic colitis, leaky gut syndrome or hyperpermeability syndrome, esophageal reflux, heartburn, etc., malabsorption syndrome, candida, chronic fatigue syndrome, and so on and so forth. So, tonight's program is not about the improvement of the above conditions. No. We're talking about resolution here, my friends. We're talking about healing, okay? Not just covering up the symptoms. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to reverse these conditions and be healed from them, thus returning to normal operation of the systems. If you grasp the principles cited in tonight's program and are willing to do something about getting well, then your problems will soon be a thing of the past. All right, let's begin. Many doctors have noted the pivotal importance of the colon in the body's health, from the ancients to the moderns. Physicians from ancient Greece, of course, and Rome felt that death begins and ends in the colon, as even the father of medicine, Hippocrates, had said. These healers regarded the colon as a life center of the body, one of its most important organs, because, my friends, the colon is not merely an organ of elimination. No. The colon is also very involved in the digestive process. Now, you hear the digestive process and you think, oh, well, digestive process. Okay, what is that? Well, okay, I know what it is. So I put food in my mouth and I digest it. No, my friends. Did you realize that the digestive process is actually the process of life? Do you realize that without digestion, you would not have life? Okay? That's what we're talking about. Why? Because everything we put in our mouths, in order for it to be used in the continuance of life, has to be digested. And the colon plays a huge part in that. A huge part. So another very important reason why the colon is of supreme importance is it houses our second brain. those of you who are interested in more information on the second brain, contact me for the CD. It is available. But briefly here, I don't want to take the time. I have done programs on it. Briefly, we have a second brain in our gastrointestinal tract, all right, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. In quality and quantity, it absolutely equals the brain we have in our cranium. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that most so-called psychological illnesses, mental illnesses, the dreaded phrase, mental illness, are nothing more than an assault on our second brain housed in the gastrointestinal tract via polluted food, polluted water, and polluted air. Understand that, okay? Understand that the gastrointestinal tract via the second brain produces just as much serotonin as the brain in the cranium does, the feel-good hormones. Now, the brain in our cranium is very well protected, but our second brain, which is throughout the intestinal tract, beginning at the mouth and ending at the anus, so to speak, throughout the GI tract, is assaulted by, it's not protected at all because it is assaulted by everything we put in our mouth or everything we breathe. So realize that, my friends. What we're talking about here is the process of life, and hence life itself. So don't think of your gastrointestinal tract, of your colon, which is a part of it, as just something that is used for elimination. Not at all, au contraire. So the colon's importance seems often to be glossed over and patronized by today's mainstream medical approach, in which the colon is thought of simply as the body's sewer, without regard for its many critical, dynamic biological functions. Consequently, rates of death from colon cancer are at an all-time high in the Western world, of which, of course, South Africa is a part. Colon cancer is now the number 3 cancer in the United States and the Western world. The number 3 killer, colon cancer, right now. All right, the diseases I enumerated a little bit ago are experienced today in epidemic proportions, and with standard treatments are almost never cured. The irony is that to return to a normal state is simplicity itself, my friends. The biggest obstacle seems to be that of knowledge, that of finding out how to heal from those diseases. Okay, let's begin with some basic plumbing. The digestive tract can be thought of merely as a long tube, in one sense, from one end to the other. Food goes in one end, waste exits at the other. The tube, or gastrointestinal tract, is divided into sections we know as the mouth, the throat, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, which is also called the colon. That's the whole tube, top to bottom. It's important to remember one odd fact. The inside of this tube is still considered the outside of the body by the body. I'd like to repeat that for emphasis. The inside of the tube, of the GI tract, is still considered the outside of the body by the body. What do I mean by that? See, the food sitting there in your intestines and mine is still outside the body. Reason? It hasn't yet been absorbed into the bloodstream. Only then does it become part of the body. Okay? By absorption, by digestion, by the process of life. That's why I say It is not just the colon, it is not just a tube, it is not just the GI tract. Au contraire, it is the process of life itself. Let's follow a grape as an example through the tube that we call our gastrointestinal tract. Let's follow a grape and let's see what happens. You pop the grape into your mouth. Chewing releases the grape's enzymes, which are going to help break it down into its component parts. Next, you swallow the chewed grape. It goes down the esophagus and ends up in the stomach. There, the grape gets churned around some more and has some of the body's digestive juices break it down further. After about an hour of this, the stomach spits the chewed grape particles into the next section of the tube, the small intestine. After more enzymes are added, this is when the grape particles first get inside the body. Now they're beginning to be assimilated, you see, as they say in Star Trek and Borg terminology. You will be assimilated. Okay, for those Trekkie fans out there, I enjoy Star Trek immensely myself. Very much a Trekkie fan. All right, so it happens like this, you see. The inside of the small intestine is lined with a velvety layer of tiny finger-like projections called microvilli. Microvilli. It's kind of like a microscopic version of one of those pieces of mattress foam rubber with the bumps on it, if you can visualize that. So the microvilli then increase the absorptive surface area of the colon to the size of a football field, in analogy. I know some of us feel like we are the size of a football field. 45 minutes of exercise every day, my friends. I'll give you Sunday off. 6 days a week, 45 minutes a day, along with a good supplement program, a good natural medicine program. Give yourself a year to 2 years, you'll get rid of that tummy. All right. Absorption of the nutrients then contained in the grape particles happens through the microvilli. The nutrients are passing from the inside of the small intestine through the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream. After several hours of giving the small intestine enough chance to absorb all the nutrients, the undigested waste, whatever's left over of the grape that wasn't absorbed, gets moved along and propelled into the final section of the tube, the colon. The colon is a muscular tube about 6 feet long, and all along the walls are infoldings called haustrae, Haustrae, which mark off sections of the colon. Now, by the end of adolescence, the passage through the colon should be about 2 inches in diameter. Adolescents should have little trouble eliminating because the process of undigested layers of waste sticking to the lining of the colon wall is not that advanced. Now, with an unrestricted diet high in rancid fats, and excess protein, the inside passageway gradually becomes smaller and smaller, requiring more force to push everything through. Straining at stool is an obvious sign of a blocked colon, my friends, and is not normal. Elimination should be effortless, no matter what the person's age. Producing rabbit pellets with great effort is also a sign of serious obstruction as well as a toxifying lifestyle. Here we can now see the distinction between average and normal. The average teenager has a bad diet, we all know that, unfortunately, and little dietary advice, eating about 125 grams of protein a day, with about 25 grams being sufficient. So they eat 100 grams of protein more than they should. There are 3 primary reasons for rotting food persisting in the digestive tract, my friends. That's a bad thing, to have rotting food in our digestive tract. And I will graphically describe later why. Okay, what are the 3 primary reasons that we should not have rotting food persisting, laying there in the digestive tract? First of all, we kill our friendly bacteria, the probiotics, like Lactobacillus acidophilus, like Bifidobacterium, etc. Second of all, that causes rotting food in the GI tract, causes acidification of the body, which decreases enzyme production. Now that is a big kiss of death, a big problem, because when we finally die, we die because we do not have enough enzymes left in our bodies. So anything that decreases enzyme production, we want to know about so we can slow it down or eliminate it. And it is possible. Thirdly, mucoid plaque in the intestinal lining halts peristalsis. Okay? Mucoid plaque in the intestinal lining halts peristalsis. The movement, the muscular movement of the colon that moves the digested food along through the colon until it is eliminated. Let's take a look at these 3 reasons of why we should not have rotting food persisting in our digestive tract, one at a time. Okay, let's first of all look at the probiotics, the so-called friendly bacteria. Okay, wrongly described as the body's sewer now, the colon is actually buzzing with life activity. See? Millions of friendly bacteria are hard at work in the colon, all the time, 24/7. Their job is the final stage of digestion, you see? The final stage of digestion. And not only that, the colon has many other functions as well, but let's stick to the subject matter. So, the job of the friendly bacteria is the final stage of digestion, leaving only what is absolutely of no use to the body to be eliminated. Now, the friendly bacteria, weighing as much as 3 pounds in the normal colon, more than 400 species or so, also function to keep bad bacteria like Candida in check. And everybody has Candida, unfortunately. Everybody. And about the best and easiest way to get rid of it is with a good natural medicine program. Contact me if you're interested, folks. Okay, it seems that most bacteria in the world and in the body are actually beneficial to our health. Bacteria are the janitors of the world, so to speak. Like the scavengers in the bush are like hyenas and vultures are in the bush, in analogy, so bacteria are also the janitors of the world, disposing of decaying and diseased cells, etc. Think of a beach with no bacteria. What would happen to all those dead fish that wash up there? Wouldn't be much of a Club Med spot, that's for certain, isn't it? Alright, now, how do these friendly bacteria called probiotics keep the bad bacteria in check? How do they actually do that? Well, think of a crowded theater in analogy. Analogies are very useful in making things crystal clear, are they not? Okay, so you walk into this crowded theater and there's no place to sit. All the seats are taken, so you can't stay. Same thing with bacteria. You see, there's only a number of seats in the colon, in analogy. If they're all taken by friendly bacteria, then there's no chance for the bad bacteria to set up shop and to start to duplicate themselves and make life an absolute misery for us. Now, according to most researchers, normal probiotics should be more numerous than the cells of the intestinal lining itself. Here is why probiotics are so important. Normal people generally have some cancer cells, we all do, as well as Candida yeast, E. coli, Staphylococcus, strep, and any number of the other potentially bad organisms you can think of in our tracts most of the time. We normally have this. Any one point in our GI tracts we have the cancer cells, the candida, the E. coli, the strep, the staphylococcus, etc. But we don't get any disease from them. Okay? Researchers know, you'll see why in a minute, researchers know, for example, that 50% of men over age 55 actually have prostate cancer, which is found on autopsy, but only 2% die from it. Why? You see, the body encapsulates the cancer, like forms a bubble around it and contains it, like when there is a dangerous chemical spillage and the police and authorities put a containment field around it. They block off the area so that people cannot get into the area and be contaminated or adversely affected by the chemical. You see, so the body similarly and vitally, luckily for us, it encapsulates cancer. It limits and controls its growth. It like walls it off. It builds a bubble around it. Now, the discoverer of the HIV virus himself, Luc Montagnier, excuse my French there, said that HIV alone cannot cause AIDS. Depressed immune environment is also necessary for HIV to turn to AIDS. The same with Candida or most other bacteria. Normally, they'll be held in check by sufficiently friendly bacteria. E. coli is actually a probiotic when held in check by normal friendly flora bacteria. It's only when the friendly probiotic bacteria get killed off that the potentially bad organisms get a chance to get a foothold and take over. Hence the analogy with all the seats being taken in the theater, you see. If all the seats are taken, then the bad bugs can't get a seat, you see. So the bad bugs are called opportunists. Probiotics are extremely important, and the whole key is balance. Ισορροπία στα ελληνικά. Balance. Problem is, our friendly bacteria are constantly being killed off. How? Same culprits as always. Who are they? To find out who they are, my friends, you'll have to wait for the second half. We are halfway. Stay with us here on 1422 medium wave of the new Pan-Hellenic Voice. We're going to go to a brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with Holistic Health Hour. I'm going to give you my telephone number in a minute. I'll give it again at the end. This is Dr. Gabrielidis. I do consult as a natural medicine practitioner. Those of you who are interested, my telephone number is 076 189 6690. I repeat, 076 189 6690. Stay with us. Θα πάμε τώρα, κυρίες και κύριοι, στο συνηθισμένο μας διαφημιστικό διάλειμμα και θα είμαστε και πάλι μαζί σε λίγα λεπτά εδώ στα 1422 μεσαία κύματα της νέας Πανελλήνιας Φωνής, να συνεχίσουμε το πρόγραμμά μας Holistic Health που αφορά την υγεία μας. Το τηλέφωνο μου για όποιον θέλει να με συμβουλευτεί για διάφορες θεραπείες με natural medicine είναι, θα το ξαναδώσω στο τέλος του προγράμματος, το νούμερο μου είναι 076 189 6690. 076 189 6690. Μαζί σας ο Dr. Παναγιώτης Γαβριλίδης. You are tuned to 1422 medium wave. This is the new Pan-Hellenic Voice, Holistic Health Hour with Dr. Gabrielidis, and we're talking about colon health today. Before the break, I got up as far as who the culprits are that decimate our beneficial microflora, and we're going to continue with that now. The culprits then are the antibiotics people take. The antibiotics given to the animals whose meat we eat. An interesting statistic. And a horrifying one is that half the world's antibiotics that are manufactured, half the antibiotics that are manufactured in the world are fed to animals. Wow. Another culprit that causes imbalance in the GI tract, of course, is the whole genre of antacids, including drugs like Zantac, Tagamet, Prilosec, etc., etc. Another culprit is NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like all the painkillers, basically. The Mortins, the ibuprofens, well, all the painkillers, they're all the same. Celebrex, notorious one. That should not even be on the market. It has killed so many people. And of course, any prescription and non-prescription medication is also very, very harmful for slaughtering the beneficial bacteria in our gastrointestinal tract. White sugar, another vicious culprit. Carbonated drinks, all the sodas, all the colas, okay? Antihistamines, another culprit. Chlorinated water, kiss of death for your probiotics in your GI tract. You can't pay me enough to swim in a swimming pool that is chlorinated. And I will only drink chlorinated water if I'm absolutely dying of thirst and there is nothing else to drink. That's how bad that is. And of course, fluoridated water or fluoridated toothpaste. Coffee, big killer of friendly probiotics in our GI tract. Okay, all these are probiotic killers. Without friendly probiotics now, the final stage of digestion can't take place in the colon. That means the final stage of life can't take place. No wonder we walk around half dead like zombies. No wonder hospitals are full of people, sick people with chronic degenerative diseases and autoimmune diseases, etc., etc. You see, the debris just rots in there in our GI tract. It just sits there and rots because it cannot be digested. It is only the friendly probiotics that actually execute the final stage of digestion in our gastrointestinal tract. Understand that, my friends. So, opportunistic bacteria and Candida albicans start taking over. Dr. Bernard Jensen, on the relation between the bad bacteria and the undigested food, said, and I quote, "Bacteria and viruses, which are cell scavengers, are not there for lack of something better to do. They're there because there is malnourished, enzyme-depleted, diseased and necrotic tissue, dead tissue. Functioning as nature's biological sanitation department, they must break down and eliminate the sick tissue to prevent further poisoning of the body. If you stop their action, you allow continuous poisoning by the decaying tissue." Quoted from his book entitled Empty Harvest, page 113. Very fascinating book, Empty Harvest. I recommend it. You got to order it from the bookstores. They don't have it lying around, but they will do that for you, seeing that they order thousands of books every week from the US. Empty Harvest by Dr. Bernard Jensen, an incredible read. Dr. Jensen makes a point here that should not be missed, my friends. He's talking about rotting food in the colon, as well as diseased living cells of the colon itself, both attracting bacteria. It's an identical situation in the two separate instances of 1. Undigested food in the colon, and 2. Bacterial infection in a diseased organ of the body. Alright. In neither case are the bacteria causing illness. Interesting. They are trying to prevent illness by breaking down the dying tissue, whether it's rotting yogurt in a blocked colon, a jackal in the bush, or infected liver cells in the body of an alcoholic. Bacteria are just doing what they do best, cleaning up. When the bacteria are diagnosed as the cause of the illness, rather than a sign of the illness, the medical approach is to try and kill them. But that's like killing the garbage men. You may kill the garbage men, but the garbage remains. So, understanding such a simple concept is pivotal. It is of paramount importance in arriving at a holistic outlook toward health. Chronically undigested food is often present in quantities too great for any bacteria to scavenge. The debris then becomes plastered onto the inside lining of the colon, eventually making it smooth and shiny like the inside of a new shotgun barrel. When this happens, absorption or digestion is blocked. Result: chronic degenerative diseases set in. Diseases like arthritis, rheumatism, diabetes, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, myasthenia gravis, etc., etc., etc. Okay, next, let's look at the acidification of the body. Acidification of the body. All right, this involves the body's pH, the body's acid-alkaline base, the acid-base balance, that is. Okay. Now, like a soap is basic or alkaline, and oranges are acidic. So certain foods are basic or alkaline, other foods are acidic. Now, in the body, certain places only operate correctly if they are at exactly the right pH. The stomach lining, for example, has to be alkaline in order to counteract the acidic digestive enzymes. Otherwise, we'd constantly be burning holes in the stomach lining. So, all phases of digestion are totally dependent upon a delicate acid-base balance, acid-alkaline balance. The problem is, most foods in our standard Western diet, burgers, fries, colas, pizza, etc., are acid forming. That means they lower the pH of the body. They make it too acidic. The balance is disrupted, and many enzymes can't operate. Digestion is inhibited. Result: food sits there and rots. A 16-ounce bottle of cola has a pH of around 2, very acidic. Now, to bring the pH back to our normal 7.3, we would have to dilute that cola, the cold drink, with about 10 gallons of water, all right? However many liters that may be. I lose track. What's it about? About 4 liters in a gallon. So plus minus 40 liters of water you'd need to dilute just 1 can of cola. But we don't usually drink 10 gallons of water after every cold drink we consume. So how does it work? The blood must maintain a pH of between 7.3 and 7.45. If not, we die, my friends. That's how critical this is. So, with all the acid foods we keep eating, the body tries desperately to keep its pH within the range. The first thing it tries are buffering with bicarbonates in the blood and lungs. Next, the body begins to sweep the extra acids into the tissues, especially muscles and joints. Hello arthritis, hello rheumatism. That's where lactic acid buildup comes from. If that's still not enough, as a final effort to keep from acidifying, the body will actually precipitate acids out of solution in the form of solid crystals and salts. This is the exact mechanism of gallstones, kidney stones, uric acid crystals, plaque in our arteries, and cholesterol crystals. Very serious stuff. So, a built-in protection for self-preservation is what the blood does to monitor and control the pH. It's a built-in protection for self-preservation. We think of these stones, the gallstones, the kidney stones, as major medical problems. But in reality, it's just a sign that the body's systems are functioning as they should. Otherwise, we'd be dead of acidosis. The problem, of course, is that we have too many of these stones in our bodies because we eat and drink so much junk food. So what happens to the colon from this over-acid diet that everybody just about is on? In a word, enzymes happens to the colon, or rather lack of enzymes. A huge lack of enzymes. Enzymes are absolutely necessary to break down and digest food. It's the only thing that does it, nothing else. If the environment is too acidic, the enzymes in the stomach and small intestine don't work very well at all. By the time it gets to the colon, everything that was supposed to be digested should have already had it happen. But it hasn't. So the undigested food gets dumped into the colon. There are no digestive enzymes in the colon, unfortunately. So the food just sits there and rots. Now, minerals can only be absorbed at a certain pH, and minerals are a necessary component of enzyme formation. So it's a vicious cycle, you see. Acidification of the body causes decreased minerals, which cause decreased enzyme production, which causes the food to rot in the tract, which further blocks absorption of water, nutrients, and minerals. Downward spiral all the time. Another critical job of the colon is electrolyte reabsorption and water reclamation back into the bloodstream, so we're not constantly losing them. Electrolytes are important minerals like sodium and potassium, which conduct electrical charges through the body. They are necessary for normal cell function. The idea is for the body to maintain as much water, sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium as possible for maximum conservation. Remember, we're almost 70% water. So the colon is the logical place for this reabsorption to happen, since it's the last portion of the tube. In the sick person, the colon is blocked. Water and electrolytes don't get absorbed. Where do they go? Out. The body loses water, general dehydration sets in, cell death sets in, premature aging sets in, kidney destruction sets in, spilling of electrolytes, blood thickening occurs, the whole enchilada of downward health then follows. Blocked absorption alone is enough to slowly kill you, my friends. Alright, let's look at the last little thing for today. We'll carry on next week. Mucoid plaque halts peristalsis. Okay, mucoid plaque is a term used by many holistic doctors and researchers to describe the uniform rubbery layers of mucus and rotting food which compact themselves year after year along the entire length of the digestive tract. These are the hardened feces that you hear me talk about so often. Now, peristalsis is the normal rhythmic muscular action of the intestine to push food down and outward out of the body. Mucoid plaque is formed as the intestine keeps producing mucus as a normal response to an irritant, that is, undigested food. Food is not supposed to just sit there and rot. We're only supposed to store 3 meals. But most of us store 9, 12, or even more meals before one comes out. This increased transit time is irritating to the intestinal lining. Mucus is not powerful enough to move the toxic enzyme-less sludge of cheeseburgers, pizza, and ice cream out of our bodies. But the body keeps on valiantly trying, and more mucus is constantly being produced. Eventually, the mucus becomes matrixed or joined in with the most indigestible elements like trans fatty acids from the barbecue and sour cream chips, etc. And it goes on day after day, week after week, month after month, and the layers get thicker and harder, and the colon grows in diameter, and we absorb less and less nutrients, and will lose more and more water and minerals. If you want to discover your own transit time, try the simple test. Eat something you usually don't eat that will easily be identifiable when it comes out, like frozen corn or peanuts. You should never eat peanuts, my friends. Horrible things. And pistachios are some good examples. And then simply note the time from when you eat these markers, the frozen corn, the peanuts, the pistachios, to the time when you see them leaving. And that's your transit time. That's how long it has taken for the food to come out. All right. The intestinal walls contain long muscles whose job it is to keep things moving along. These muscles gradually become overstretched and weakened by the pressure of too much waste pushing against them, expanding outward like blowing up a long thin balloon. Thus, peristalsis, the normal wave-like muscular motion of the colon, is further inhibited and blockage is again promoted. Mucoid plaque blocks inflow and outflow, resulting in lack of nutrient, water, and electrolyte absorption, as well as retention of toxic putrefaction in balloon-like blocked out pocketings of the intestine called diverticula. In addition, pathogenic bacteria, parasites, and candida thrive in the mucoid plaque layer and are actually protected by it from prescription or natural herb remedies and efforts to remove them. Horrible. Mucoid plaque is described as a natural response to an unnatural stimulus. It is a necessary protection the body produces to try and shield itself from poisons. Mucoid plaque is a product of the constant production of mucus by the glycocalyx lining cells, brought on by the modern diet of fake, empty, processed, chemical-laden, hormone-laced, antibiotic-soaked foods. Okay? Only thing that can get rid of it is the probiotics. I stock these, my friends. Those of you who are interested, contact me. So many doctors have noted that when the plaque can be removed by a cleanse, as these probiotics, the nutrients that I stock, that I'm talking about, as the plaque can be removed by this kind of a cleanse, remission from virtually any disease may result. Simple cause and effect. Okay? Mucoid plaque has been definitely linked to gastric cancer by the simple mutation of the lining cells, metaphasia. No big surprise here. Cell damage is caused by inflow-outflow blockage, and after a certain time, mutation occurs. Another mechanism is that the constant secretion of mucus captures the toxins, but since normal transit is blocked, the toxins become locked in one location, often for years, resulting in irritation and eventual cell mutation. The cells swim in their own wastes month after month. In a lecture in San Jose, California, on September 6, 1998, Dr. Richard Anderson told the story of one of his patients who underwent a cleanse in Hawaii. The patient was passing long strands of rubbery mucoid plaque, some over 20 feet in length. Fascinated, the patient hung the strands over his clothesline in the backyard. Man, talk about some weird hobbies. He then took a length of the plaque and packaged it in a box to send to the mainland to prove what happened to him. This is what came out of his colon, okay, we're talking about. And he mailed the package at the local post office in Hawaii. A few days later, two serious-looking officials in ATF windbreakers knocked on the patient's door and asked him if he had sent such and such a package to such and such an address. The patient said yes and asked what was the problem. They answered that the post office has dogs that sniff out all packages mailed off the island, and that one of them had become very excited about his package. The patient asked what were the dogs trained to detect. Only two things came the answer: narcotics and explosives. Which dog was it? Asked the patient. The one for explosives. The patient was incredulous, especially when he recalled that he had worked with munitions, explosives, some 25 years ago, and his job was to handle explosives. He explained that the detox cleanse of the colon to the two agents that he had, and hey, they were satisfied. But now, this story illustrates the power of such an intestinal cleanse. The body had retained these strong toxins in the mucoid plaque lining of the colon, stored in a concentration powerful enough to be detected by dogs through the layers of wrapping of a sealed package some 25 years later. Incredible, isn't it? The rubbery mucoid plaque layer seals in toxins, and it seals in toxins and prevents absorption of water and nutrients. Toxic sludge promotes proliferation of pathological bacteria and yeast like candida. Okay, my friends, I will definitely continue with this next week. And we have come to the end of the road for tonight again. Tune in again next Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on 1422 medium wave of the new Pan-Hellenic Voice. I do consult as a natural medicine practitioner. Those of you who do wish to consult me, pen and paper, quick. My number is 076 189 6690. I repeat, 076 189 6690. CDs of this program and past programs are available from me. Contact me if you're interested. Also, if you have a group that you would like me to give a talk to, contact me. I'll be happy to oblige, and I do those talks for free. Okay, till next time, my friends, take care. And please remember, those of you who want to hear me on a philosophical note, tune in to 1422 medium wave right here on the new Pan-Hellenic Voice every Monday from 12 noon till 1 o'clock. Till then, this is Dr. Gabriel Lidis saying goodbye. Λοιπόν, κυρίες και κύριοι, φτάσαμε στο τέλος της εκπομπής μας και για σήμερα. Θα είμαι και πάλι μαζί σας την επόμενη Τρίτη από τις 7 μέχρι τις 8 το βράδυ, εδώ στα 1422 μεσαία κύματα της Νέας Πανελλήνιας Φωνής. Όσοι από εσάς θέλετε να με συμβουλευτείτε για διάφορες θεραπείες με Natural Medicine, μπορείτε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί μου στο τηλέφωνο 076 189 6690. Επαναλαμβάνω, 076 189 6690. Επίσης μπορώ να σας προμηθεύσω CDs αυτού του προγράμματος και όλων των προηγουμένων προγραμματών μου. Όπως επίσης δίνω διαλέξεις για Holistic Health στην αγγλική. Εάν έχετε ένα group που ενδιαφέρεται για μια τέτοια διάλεξη, μην διστάσετε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί μου, οι διαλέξεις μου είναι εντελώς δωρεάν. Αυτά λοιπόν αγαπητοί μου ακροατές, από μένα τον Δόκτωρα Παναγιώτη Γαβριλίδη. Καλή σας νύχτα, καλή σας εβδομάδα και μην ξεχάσετε το πρόγραμμά μου κάθε Δευτέρα από τις 12 το μεσημέρι μέχρι τις 1. Αντίο σας.